you're in this studio, you've got this kind of sense that I've described before, the walls closing in, you're in this kind of sense of being in the tunnel of making this decision. And you don't know that the world outside isn't saying, oh my goodness, surely he's not going to disallow it for that. Oh my Lord, this would be a terribly, oh no, this is killing the game. Or, come on, ref, it's obviously a foul. What's taking so long? So, hence the sense that you do need to take your time, you need to be thorough, you need to make absolutely sure you're checking with your assistant. Am I reading this right? Am I seeing this right? Then, of course, the referee's got to go to the screen and be sure, not just think, okay, I'll take your word for it. Chris has been burnt before as a ref, where he's gone to the screen, been very quick. No, I'm sticking with my decision, and actually the verdict later was actually, if you're taking your time, you might have come to a different outcome. So it's a really big call that's going to decide, well, potentially not decide anything, but it will obviously have a big bearing at both ends of the table. They're right to be careful, to be cautious, and to try to make sure they get the best possible decision they can in that moment.
Yeah, it's an unenviable position to be in, no question. I think a lot of fans, though, who aren't Arsenal fans, are very unhappy with the fact that Arsenal have been doing this all season, blocking off keepers, obstructing keepers. This is a series of goals. You can go on social media and see them, and yet their manager doesn't see any of that, but he sees this one and goes, what a great decision by the official.
Yeah, he was very philosophical. He's interested to see.
So typical of all managers, not just him.
He did, I think his actual line was, today I realised how big and difficult a referee's job is. So if he gets sawn off against Burnley, which does seem unlikely but possible, maybe a little different attitude.
It's an epiphany for the Arsenal manager. I did a meeting at Arsenal once where he was standing at the back of the room and I was talking and he suddenly started heckling me. It was and it was like, you're the manager, you don't stand at the back of the room and heckle me, stand at the front and do it, So maybe he'll be more enlightened in it.
There's been a lot of talk in the past about the VAR officials should be in the stadium so they get a sense of the game. But I think maybe yesterday was an example of why you should be in a training estate near Heathrow instead, really.
Yes, there's not a lot to be said for that training estate near Heathrow, by the way. That's the workplace, although the actual environment isn't too bad. But I think it's whenever we talk about VAR, there's the opposite view can also apply, can't it? So we tend to say, well, less of it, but then you have a decision like this, actually, well, no, we do need it for this kind of thing. So it probably is best to be detached, but it does, in some ways, it makes it harder, because you don't know that, you don't have that feel. And a lot of the time as a referee, all your experience of 20 years as a ref is often based on the feel you get in the moment, or what's expected, what's reasonable, and you lose that when you're in the studio. You're also used to making decisions based on one thing in real time, and now you're being shown 4 or 5 angles at different speeds, and your brain processes those things differently. It doesn't, it's not the same, it's a different process.
Graham, I was saying earlier on though, yesterday's game makes you just hate VAR even more. I don't think it makes me want to feel like it's the right system. It makes me want it to go. I said earlier on that if we've got referees and assistant referees out there doing their job, if they did penalise holding, there'd be a few weekends when it drive us all mad. But in the end, players would know what the parameters were and they wouldn't do it. We got VAR in to stop arguments, and all we ever do is argue about it. It's just another layer. What's the point? Let the referees and the assistant referees do their job.
Yeah, I'm largely in that camp, as you know, especially in the stadium. All we want VAR to sort out the factual errors. We obviously want throw line technology. We want the offsides to be done quicker than they are, but we want them to be accurate. And we want, if it's outside the box and the ref's given a penalty, let's at least get that one right. But most of the rest in the stadium, I'd rather go with what the ref's seen and accept the consequence, even though when I was a referee I very much appreciated the howler that came along once or twice a season, or maybe not even that often, but the really big bad call. You love having that put right, because it obviously you don't want to drive home thinking you've cost the team the game or had a major bearing on the outcome.
We saw Andy Madley, just very quickly, just a couple of questions for you. Andy Madley the other day not give yellows for 2 cards are upgraded from red. Yeah. We've seen in cricket sometimes umpires, we feel, not making decisions, allowing on technology to make the decisions for them. Are we seeing a little bit of that as well?
I don't think this is a case of it. Andy generally gives the players the benefit of the doubt. He's quite reluctant to send players straight off for tackles. He's more likely to go yellow. And I think there's a tendency for some refs to do that anyway. I don't think that's a VAR factor. But I don't really know that any more than you do. It's very difficult to tell because we can't do the controlled trial we'd like to do, which is say, well, let's have games without VAR and see what the difference is.
Well, we had the FA Cup, didn't we? And everybody loved it. And everybody felt like it was like a cold shower.
Until we had the game at Villa where there was a clear handball inside the box and given outside, and then we had a referee who really struggled to process the fact that there had been an error.
Yeah, and because he'd been used to working with VAR, Graham. That's why.
Because he was used to having his decision. If he did make a wrong decision, he was used to having it put right, and then it's okay again.
Yeah.
Kind of. You shouldn't have made the mistake, but at least it was been put right.
We've only got about 30 seconds, so I need you in 30 seconds to tell us how we remedy all this grappling in the box. We heard Darren Can, the former assistant referee's take last night. Maybe no attacking players in the 6-yard box till the whistle's blown. Does that work?
Yeah, I've mooted to that as well. Darren and I've often discussed law changes. The other possibility would be copy hockey and force teams to put players at the other half, or at least some distance away, so you create space. At least it could be policed there. From the referee's point of view, it's almost impossible to police at the moment. You've got 20 players in a 10 by 10 square. It's impossible. But at least if you said to teams, you've got to keep 2, 3, 4, even 5 players, I don't know, on the halfway line or outside the penalty area, you might get a bit of a chance.
It's got to be bad when the Brighton manager gets in an MME fighter to teach his players how to.
Yeah.
That's how bad we've got. Brighton, don't blame Hurtzler for doing it, but it is pathetic. Brighton, we've got to that stage.
Brighton has had somebody to work with the players on grappling to help them at corners. Good grappling techniques, ways to get hands off of you. It is a sign of this sport in your pocket. Graham, pleasure as always. Really interesting. Thank you.
Thanks, both.
Graham Scott there, former Premier League referee and athletic columnist. Nigel Martin's going to join us a bit later on. He's coming out of retirement, former Leeds and England keeper, to play cricket for his country. He'll reflect on that rare decision. Bit of Leeds tonight, but Fraser Clark joins us to talk boxing next. But for now, that's our look back on the weekend's Premier League action with Snickers.
Hawksby and Jacobs Weekend Football Roundup on TalkSport with Snickers. You're off your game when you're hungry, grab a Snickers.
Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Toolstation. Don't let your spring projects come loose. Get locked down with big savings on trade quality screws and fixings. Next stop, Toolstation. Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Toolstation. First stop for everything for the job from 7 a.m. Monday to Saturday. Start strong, start it right. First stop, Toolstation.
McDonald's breakfast is turning up the heat with a spicy new twist. Calm down, not that spicy. Breakfast is for savouring, not suffering. Introducing McDonald's breakfast with Frank's Red Hot Ketchup. A spicy breakfast suitable for the morning. Until 8th of June, served until 11 a.m, subject to availability.
Ah, cricket. The unmistakable sound of leather on willow.
Absolute beauty.
Fireworks
Power ballads.
and t-shirt cannons.
Vitality Blast is back with the biggest local rivalries
Cartwheeling stunts.
and sixes in the sun. Have a blast with men's and women's T20 cricket starting 22nd of May.
Search Vitality Blast to get your tickets now.
Smart TV didn't work. QR code login didn't work. Re-enter login didn't work. Voice activated remote didn't work.
Wager £20, get 100 free spins with Midnight on eligible games. Search Midnight Casino or download the Midnight app today. New customers only. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Play responsibly. Gamble aware on all.
If you work as an electrician, Amendment 4 has landed. Are you ready? Join CEF Tech Talks this May to July. 26 free live events across the UK in partnership with the IET, where you'll learn about the regulations that keep you compliant, meet leading brands, network and win prizes. Parking, breakfast and CPD training all free. CEF. Your electrical experts. Find your nearest Tech Talk and register free at cef.co.uk.
As 20 of the biggest names in Green Bay's battle it out at the Snooker 900 Global Championship, get Andy Goldstein's ultimate guide to the new fast-paced format on TalkSport with Pluto TV. It's the pressure cooker potting game explained from every angle. 15 minutes of frame. Tomorrow morning from 6 on TalkSport with Pluto TV. Home of Snooker 900. Fast, free snooker you can dip into at any time. Stream now, pay never.
TalkSport News.
Heavyweight boxer Fraser Clark gives us his take on Wardley Dubois the weekend of the car event. Lead with the news head.
Good afternoon. One Labour backbencher is collecting names of colleagues who want Sir Keir Starmer to resign by September. Following poor election results last Thursday, his former deputy, Angela Rayner, said what they're doing isn't working and suggested their Manchester mayor should be brought into Westminster.
Andy Burnham should never have been blocked. It was a mistake that the leadership of our party should put right.
The Prime Minister said this morning that he knows he has his doubters, but that he will prove them wrong. A third of 16 to 25-year-olds have bought life-threatening performance-enhancing drugs that increase muscle and bone density, according to a survey. Selective androgen receptor modulators, or SARMs, are promoted on social media but can cause liver, heart and reproduction problems. They are banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency. Some kitchen worktops could be leaving stonemasons with fatal lung disease. Those who cut quartz can suffer from silicosis, which affects breathing and is incurable. Australia has become the first country to ban quartz worktops. Stonemason Kyle Goodwin has been told he has 8 years to live.
It just beats you down every time you go back to specialists. Guess what? The news is worse. By the way, there's no treatment.
TalkSport Sports Headlines with Bostic. For professional grade seals with easy application and a perfect finish, pros trust Bostic.
Grappling in penalty areas will be looked at by football's lawmakers this summer, and Frank Warren says Dubois and Wardley was one of the best events he's ever put on. Tom has more at 2.
As another dramatic season comes to a close, the battle is far from over as teams compete for promotion in the EFL playoffs. TalkSport and TalkSport 2 bring you unmissable first-class coverage and kick-by-kick commentary of each and every playoff showdown. Unbelievable! Ahead of all 3 playoff finals, live from Wembley Stadium. Experience the excitement of the EFL playoffs. What a magnificent finish! Live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Leagues, loves, and ladies' lingerie with Hawksby and Jacobs.
Well, what a weekend's boxing. What a brutal fight between Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois, with Daniel Dubois coming through in the 11th round when the fight was stopped. 2 guys on the front foot. It was brutal stuff. But if you love heavyweight boxing, it was some spectacle. Watching in, a man who's been in the ring, of course, with Fabio Wardley, is Fraser Clark, who joins us now. Hi, Fraser.
And then I was right.
Yeah, we're not too bad. I mean, let's get your take on the fight first. What did you make of it?
Oh, absolute spectacle. I think us as boxing fans, we were the winners of Saturday night. 2 real hungry, good fighters in a well-matched contest. You know, one refusing to give up, the other determined to win, as the both was. There was knockdowns, drama, the build-up was great, and I just want to say a massive well done to both of the fighters, because they put on something special for the boxing fans and all the fans that tuned in, and we loved it.
Now, when you fought Fabio Wardley a couple of years ago, you came out of that fight with a broken jaw. You came in a sort of short while afterwards, so you had damage to your eye as well. It was 6 months till you were back in the ring, and Frank Warren has been saying, Fabio needs to heal before we talk about a rematch. But from what you saw, I mean, I think I don't know if you caught him after the fight. You were at the fight, so what's your sense of when we might see him back in the ring again? Because it looked like he got worked over a bit.
Yeah, well, I was concerned that I made my way around to see him, but obviously he was just making his way back, and I did see him, and he was walking, he was responding, which is great to see. But yeah, he was pretty busted up. Then again, he always is. But I do think not just the
not just because it's Fabio, but he's been in a lot of fights that have been tough like that. So I think a good rest would do him well. Obviously, he'd be gutted, to lose his title, but you got to think of his health at the end of the day. And I think, so a nice rest and some time with his family is well deserved.
It was a good start by him, wasn't it? He had been down twice, but you have to admire Dubois for coming back.
Especially like the narrative around him, the kind of quitter narrative, which has sort of dogged him, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the way I seen it was Daniel, for all of his experiences, whether they be good or bad, his defeats, his victories, and all the stuff that's been said about him, he's obviously learned from worse situations, and that showed on Saturday night. He's been down before and he's not got up. This time, he learned a bit. He took a heavy shot, called a heavy shots, took a knee, and that's called gamesmanship and that's called experience. So, I can salute him on that, and he's obviously learned from his mistakes in the past, and he comes through brilliantly. He did exactly what we know he's capable of, but we've seen in glimpses. But he was consistent throughout the fight, and obviously came out the winner.
Is a rematch for these guys probably, considering what's going on in boxing at the moment, that Frank Warren probably doesn't want him, or Moses a toe ring with Daniel Dubois. Is a rematch about the best thing for the two of them, you think, in terms of sort of a big payday?
I mean, obviously it'd be a huge fight the second time around, but I think that they've both got options. I think Fabio will definitely be back, and I imagine Daniel will be chasing down some of the real heavy hitters and the big players in the division. I think if we're looking forward, we want in probably your Furies, your AJs again, maybe even Usyk again. But I think Fabio will definitely be eager to have the rematch, so they can right the wrongs. But like I said, the world is built for these guys. They've got massive options there.
Do you think any of the injuries that Fabio Wardley's picked up could cause him issues down the road, looking at the nature of them?
Yeah, well, I believe the one, I'm not only going off what I've seen, I'm not too sure about the eye, but I know the nose was busted again. And then that was, our first fight, that was a problem for him as well, and it seemed to open up ever since. I think it started in the Nathan Gorman fight, that quite actually, so it's been carrying that for a while. It seems to come open all the time. So that is a bit of an issue, but unfortunately, it's one of them things I think as well where sometimes you might be able to fix that. It's on his face. You get hit on the nose often, and I think he's learned to deal with it. But fingers crossed. I'm not sure the extent of his injuries, like I say, but hopefully he can make a full recovery and his health is still in top condition.
Now we've got another heavyweight fight just around the corner. Dave Allen, Philip Hodovic. We had a chat with Dave a couple of weeks back, and it's in his backyard at Doncaster Roads. I know he's very excited about it. You've been in with Dave. You beat Dave a few years back. What do you make of this fight?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there, working speaking with Talk Sport and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this one because I'm not. Dave looks fantastic, and everything he's portraying, he looks in fantastic spirits, in fantastic shape. Even though we know it's a massive task for him, we're Brits, aren't we? We love an underdog, and Dave is the underdog, and I think he'll embrace that. But what a scalp that would be if he could get the victory against Philip Hodovic, which is a massive ask. He's jumping up a few levels. But we love the underdog story in Great Britain, and listen, we're all behind Dave.
The thing is, but it's a great story, Dave, isn't it? Because he'd probably be the first to tell you that he didn't quite know where his career was going. Then we had the Johnny Fisher fights and the controversy around that, and it was a bit of a second coming for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, you have to credit him, the people around him. I think one of the big decisions, best decisions Dave has made is where he's put himself in terms of his gym and the people he's around. Jamie Moore, Nigel Travis, and I think he's like Pat Brown and Jack Cattrall at one time. It was such a good stable of fighters, and I think I know myself how much that can help as a fighter. And the comeback and the turnaround of his career has been fantastic. I think there's a lot of time where he lacked belief and probably the want to go out and win big fights. He seems to have that back now in abundance. There's an energy about him. He looks younger. He looks better, and he looks like he's feeling himself, which is something you need in this sport. The confidence seems to be there. he's been in with some good names. Well, the last guy went in with Mahmoudov, maybe a couple of fights ago, massive puncher. I don't think he has to worry about Tilipovic punching as hard as that, but technically and experience-wise, he's right up there.
And what about you, Fraser? Finally, where are you at fight-wise?
Well, I'm sitting here. I've been back in the gym for weeks now. To be honest, I'm training away, and I just want to get back in there. To be honest, after my last fight, so I've took out any positives from it now. Even though it was a loss, it's hard to take, but the general consensus from myself and from everyone around me is we're moving in the right direction. So, listen, I'm here. My phone's always on, and I want big fights. There's so many good domestic fights. That's what I mean when I say big fights. There's so many good domestic dust-ups that I could be a part of, and hopefully that's what news real soon. Another big domestic night, if not a domestic name. I'm just going in up to world level, both Justice Uni. Any of them guys that need to fight, I'm always here and I'm always ready.
Brilliant. Look, we wish you well, and we'll hear from you next Saturday as part of our coverage. So, cheers, Fraser. Thanks very much.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Fraser Clark there, British heavyweight, and you'll be able to listen to that fight on TalkSport, and indeed watch it on DAZN live from Doncaster next Saturday. And the week after on DAZN, it's Glory in Giza. Usyk versus the Dutch kickboxing legend Rico Verhoeven, who's in the studio with Jim and Simon for the WBC heavyweight title up for grabs. But you can join DAZN Ultimate now and watch Dave Allen plus 12 or more pay-per-views a year, including Usyk versus Rico, at no extra cost.
Boxing update on TalkSport with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Toolstation. We've got you covered with great deals on paint and decorated essentials this spring. Next stop, Toolstation.
Cricket, the unmistakable sound of leather on willow.
Absolute beauty. Fireworks.
Power ballads.
And t-shirt cannons.